a famous viewing company is actually they're shrinking. Electronic Arts is not shrinking, but they are downsizing BioWare as the studio switches its full attention to Mass Effect 5. That's right, there's a Mass Effect 5 coming. In a blog post, BioWare general manager Gary McKay confirmed the studio is restructuring following Dragon Age: The Veilguard's release in late 2024. With the next Mass Effect game not requiring support from the full studio, he said, an unspecified number of BioWare staff have transferred to other teams within its parent company, EA. Quote, now that Dragon Age, The Veilguard, has been released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, including Mike Gamble, Preston Wadamanuk, Derek Watts, Parrish Lay, and various artists, others. Uh, in keeping with our fierce commitment of innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience to our fans. We are taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. Given this stage of development, we don't require support from the full studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, and so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA that had open roles that were a strong fit. Close quote from CEO Gary McKay himself.
Yep.
So while it's
Uh,
good news
mhm.
that, yes, they technically didn't lose their jobs, they're just elsewhere within the big EA conglomerate. BioWare as a whole technically downsizing.
Yeah. And it's only, again, this is one of those things that's only good news for the corporations because
Mhm.
unfortunately, this means that in all likelihood, they are winding down BioWare as a major part of the EA ecosystem. It very much feels like if Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect game, does not hit in a huge way, this might be the last thing we see out of the studio. The way
You
they're
mean they
kind of
can't
talking,
survive two duds from Dragon Age the Veilguard to Mass Effect 5?
and that's the
Whatever you call it?
frustrating, and that's the frustrating thing, right? Is in no way was Dragon Age the Veilguard a dud. Only dummies on the internet want you to think that. It was a pretty successful game for EA, critically and sales wise. It was a big comeback story, considering that this was a game that almost didn't exist. It was a game that had all of its games as a service guts stripped out of it, replaced with a traditional single player narrative, and succeeded and came out playable and came out something that people really enjoyed. And EA feels like they're punishing the studio for putting out a good game. It seems backwards in so many ways. So
Do
yeah,
you think it's because they took out the live service aspect, which means they get less money from it?
I mean, long term, that's probably what the board is saying, right? Like they're saying, like, well, yeah, this is great, but this is great once, and like, you guys need to pull out all the stops for Mass Effect to make sure it's bigger. Is that's what they're being told? It's like all these corporations are having the same conversation in their boardrooms, which is, yeah, but what about this? But like, what about this times 10? That's what we want, and
Did
it's
we
just
talk
not
about this at
sustainable.
the end of the year? How do video
We
games make
did.
money?
It just continues to be the story. And yeah, it means that actual people's jobs are on the line here. Yeah, they might be moving some people, but there's no guarantee that they can find somewhere to put everybody. And if they're trying to downsize, downsize means one thing when you're talking about on the corporate level, and that's layoffs. And I'm sure they're coming. It's just disappointing to see. And it's sad for such a storied studio like BioWare. They've delivered so many huge classics for EA. Not only the Mass Effect trilogy, but also Knights of the Old Republic before that. Like they used to be a major part of the studio's identity. And now it just feels like all of that is gone. I don't know. So yeah, it's not a great story. It's actually a kind of sad one.
So, a BioWare, story company of BioWare, if what you're telling me now is if Mass Effect 5 doesn't live up to the hype of what a Mass Effect game can be, do they fold the studio?
I think
Or is
it's
that a
possible.
2027 answer?
I think it's possible, and it's more possible than ever now. I think they just basically put the writing on the wall by doing this.
Uh,
I know. It's sad, but maybe that
that's
game's great. Maybe that game is great.
it could
It could
be.
very well be.
In my mind, it's great, and everyone keeps their jobs.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
also they can't put my mind to make out money yet. All right, let's move on.